In this video, I'm going to talk about different charging cables and adapters and what they do and which one you should always bring with you. So here we have the UMC. They call it the UMC, the Universal Mobile Connector. This one comes with a car. It always comes with a car, the Tesla. And also if you have other EVs, it also comes with a car. You know, not this one, but an equivalent charging cable for charging at a domestic socket like this one, Shuko. Now the Tesla one is slightly different because you actually have this end where you can put other adapters, but I would not cover that. This video will be, you know, the most common use of this one, and also I will only talk about the most common adapters and cables. There are of course various other adapters that can fit in here, but that is in a separate video if you want to talk. I mean, if you want to look at it. But also nowadays, this one is getting very common. It is a Type 2 cable. And also many people get this one with a car. Now this depends on where you live and what car you have, because some cars use the Type 1 cable, such as Nissan Leaf, you know, and also other regions use Type 1. But in Europe, at least for Tesla and many other cars like Ioniq, i3, they use a Type 2. So the Type 2 cable enables you to charge at faster speed than the UMC, and also for other EVs that will also be the same case. For instance, with the Type 2 on Ioniq, you can charge at 7.2 kilowatt with this one, whereas the charging cable for the Ioniq, I think the default is, well, I'm not an expert on Ioniq, I just love the car, but I think maybe like 13 amp is maximum. So yes, and this one also has some other advantages which I have covered in a separate video. The third one I will show you is this, which is the CHAdeMO adapter. Yeah, some people call me the CHAdeMO Björn or whatever, you know. Yeah, like so the CHAdeMO adapter is a special adapter for Tesla only, and it allows the Tesla, which has this plug in the charging port, Type 2 variant, to charge on the DC fast chargers that, for instance, Nissan Leaf or Kia Soul uses. So, you know, this one is more expensive than some of the other ones. Well, I should also mention the price, by the way. The UMC here is freaking expensive. It costs about 600 euros, roughly. Yeah, 600, 700 euros. I'm not sure exactly. It depends on the region, of course, but this one is freaking expensive. The second most expensive is this one, which is in US is about 450. Well, it was, and I think it's more. Yeah, no, actually, I think it's $450 in US. In Europe, maybe 500 euros. In Norway, it's 4,864 NOK for this one. So yes, it is still very expensive, but also very good. Type 2 cables, on the other hand, they cost around 1,500 NOK to 2,000 NOK, which is, you know, like $150 to $200 a euro. So it is not that expensive, which is a good thing. So which cable should you always bring with you? You know, that depends on your needs, and it also depends on which country you live in, because in Norway we have so awesome infrastructure, fast charging infrastructure, that I would actually recommend people to always bring this one, the CHAdeMO adapter, with you. It is very expensive, so of course it depends on your need, where you drive and all that, and also it depends on which car you have, because of course if you have a 100 pack you will probably need this less than if you have a 70 pack. But on the other hand, if you drive a trailer a lot, then I will strongly recommend this. So as a general rule of thumb, if you drive a lot and you drive in weird places where supercharger support is not the best, then I strongly recommend to always bring this adapter with you. It's, of course, it has a steep price, but it is really worth it, because with this one you can get about 200 kilometers per hour charging rate, whereas some of the other cables, they can well, the slowest one is Shuko, about 13 kilometers per hour, and with this one it depends on the car, but from 50 to 100 kilometers per hour. So this one is, you know, 2 times faster than the second fastest option we have shown right here. But again, this depends on which country you live in, because in your country you might not have too many DC fast chargers. So in your country, this one might make more sense to you. And also, of course, it depends on the car, but I'm speaking mostly about Tesla, but of course this also applies to other cars. Yeah, so let me put away that heavy adapter for now. So I would say, CHAdeMO adapter should always be in the car. Don't leave it at home. You need it in the car, just the same way as you need the first aid kit in the car, or the high visibility jacket. And also, what was I going to say about adapter again? The CHAdeMO adapter, man, let me see. Let me hold it. Maybe I'll remember it if I hold it. Yeah. I remember it now. It's freaking funny. But from time to time, when I have to fix something at Tesla, one thing I always bring with me to the loaner car is this adapter. I could even be so. Could even have big balls and say that I don't care if I don't have this one. In Norway, at least. To me, this one is more important than the Type 2. So CHAdeMO to me is more important because it charges much faster. At least in my car, this one is about 3 times faster than the Type 2. So yeah, and so okay, enough talk about the CHAdeMO. So I would say, yes, if you drive a lot, highly recommend CHAdeMO. If you don't drive too much, I would still recommend you to always bring a Type 2 cable. I see on social media, people always brag about how many kilometers they have driven without using the Type 2 or even without using the CHAdeMO at all. That is fine, of course, you are not lucky bastard, but I also see way too many times on social media, like almost daily, people in desperate need for charge. They forgot this one, or maybe this one failed, and then because this one has some electronics, so yes, if there is a problem with this one, then they cannot charge. And if they don't have CHAdeMO adapter, and if they don't have this, then they are stuck. They could be too far away from a supercharger, or most charging stations in Norway, they don't have the Type 2 cable attached to it, so you have to bring your own Type 2 cable. So way too many times I see on social media, people are desperate calling out for someone who has a Type 2 cable or something, So that shouldn't be necessary. You should always bring either this one or this one or the UMC with you. So of course, I mean, should you bring this one? Should you even buy it? Well, this one is the Type 2 cable is cheaper than some of the other options, and I said this too many times, and I still claim that the Type 2 cable or Type 1 cable, or in general the Mode 3 cable, should be mandatory to have in an EV. Like, I would dare to say that the police should even fine you if there is a control and they find out that you don't have this cable with you. So that's my really strong opinion about this. The Type 2 cable should always be there. As for the UMC, I also actually recommend people to bring the UMC, because there will be times when this one, the CHAdeMO fast charging station, is occupied or down or something, and there will be times when this option, the Type 2, is not available, or it's also occupied or something. And as a fallback, last resort, is that you always have the possibility to charge on Shuko, or this one where you can use other adapters like the red plug, 400 volt industrial red plug, or the blue plug, but that is covered in another video. And at least in Norway nowadays, it's not that common to use this anymore because we have so good infrastructure. And also for most countries where Teslas are very common, also people don't use red plug, blue plug anymore. It's more about this and this, pretty much. Yeah. So if you don't know your needs, then at least I would say that get a Type 2 cable. You can buy one second-hand on different marketplaces. So you can even buy them for maybe half the price of a new one, and it doesn't take up too much space. So I highly recommend to always bring this one. And this one, if you feel that it takes too long, like it happened too many times, you'd have to stop and charge on AC, like semi-fast charging, then you should also consider this one, the Chanamo. Also, if you pull trailer a lot, then I can say that I highly recommend you to get one of these. And also, as for the UMC, yes, you should also bring. So pretty much the 3 cables or adapters that I've shown you in this video should always be in the car. As for the other adapters, well, I guess you can try to figure out based on your country. Yeah. So I hope this video is useful for you, and I hope that sooner or later we will see less of these posts where people desperately call out and ask people to get, to lend them a Type 2 cable or a Chanamo. I mean, yes, this is expensive equipment, but how do you put this? I mean, if you can afford a Tesla, it's a cliche now, if you can't afford a Tesla, you should at least afford a Type 2 cable, okay? I'm not going to push you to buy a freaking expensive Chanamo adapter, but at least a Type 2 cable, yeah. Listen to Uncle Bjorn, alright? So I think that's it for now. So yeah, bye-bye then.